Welcome to the Brightline Podcast. Today is Tuesday, April 14th. My name is Morgan Cole, and I'm broadcasting to you live from Studio 110 in the Woodlands, Texas. I didn't get to do a second broadcast last week because I was reconfiguring the studio here. I've used some different equipment over the past year, and I started to run into some roadblocks, especially with all these remote interviews that I've been wanting to be able to do with our new way that we work. So I sold a little equipment and got a little equipment, and I actually think it's more powerful and it netted less expensive. So pretty excited about that. So I'm going to do my best to fumble through this. I think we'll be just fine. But anyway, bear with me if there are any major issues. But I hope you enjoy the new look. We have our fancy lower thirds and our news crawl on the bottom there, and the time and the date. And it's just a regular Fox News around here. So we're excited. On today's episode, Gina Hyman is joining me to talk about her business in the Woodlands, both of them. We're going to learn how they're doing in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Gina's my neighbor, and she's a realtor, and she's also the owner of Code Ninjas in the Woodlands. That's a franchise. They are in the Cochran's Crossing Shopping Center over there. If you haven't heard of Code Ninjas before, you should check them out. It's a really cool studio where school-age children go to learn to write computer code. They control robots. They develop apps. They get one-on-one instruction. It's really a very nice, really a nice setup. Gina has worked real hard establishing that and growing that, and it's super cool. I cannot wait till my kids are actually old enough that I can send them over there. So without further ado, let me find Gina over here and bring her in. Bang. Gina.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. I'm excited to have you here talking to me remotely, of course, and
Of course.
catch it up. So like I mentioned, Gina and I are neighbors. We live across the street from each other, and 2 days ago was Easter, and it was really the most different, but one of my favorite Easters that I think I've ever experienced.
Me too. I I was worried about the weather at first, and we're all so used to going to church and being with our community and celebrating Christ, and it felt so weird to not do that. And
Mm-hmm.
so Matt and I had talked about before we thought that the weather was going to be bad. We were like, gosh, I sure would love to be able to do something for Easter, even if it's just saying hi to neighbors or just having people drive by. And I said, what if we make jambalaya and have people just drive by and get jambalaya, even
Yeah.
if it's a random neighbor going to their house? And so we kind of thought it was going to not happen because of the rain, but it ended up being a beautiful day. And y'all sat in your driveway and we sat in our driveway, and our other neighbors sat in their driveway, and it turned out to be a gorgeous day, and people drove by and got jambalaya.
No, it was super cool. I thought it was great. Jambalaya was delicious, by the way. And it was really weird. I was describing it to I was talking to Casey about it, my wife, but I was telling somebody, I was like, it felt like Christmas morning, because you know how on Easter usually it's you get downstairs, why aren't you dressed yet, we gotta go, and,
Yeah.
and then
Hurry, don't
hurry.
get anything on it.
Yeah, and then you're gonna leave church, like wherever you went to, and you probably have like a brunch at somewhere to go to, or more people to join and visit, and it's like, we got to be here, we got to be here, we got to be here. And whereas Christmas Eve is usually very structured for a lot of people, they go see family, they go to church, they do all that stuff, but like Christmas morning is just, I don't have anywhere to be. Like, my only job is to open presents and be with the kids, and
That's right.
that's how Easter felt. It was really cool.
It was really nice. It was a relaxing morning, and we had an Easter egg hunt in our front yard, as y'all did as well.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of sat around in our pajamas, and we already had the stuff to make the jambalaya and the jambalaya pot, so it just happened, and it felt very relaxing. But I still felt part of the community because I got to see y'all across the street. I got to see the
Yeah.
Cofers across, And then our parents drove by and other friends drove by, and it still felt like I was being part of the community, but it was a lot more relaxed, even though I'm very sad that my daughter didn't get to wear her Easter dress that I bought her. But
I'm sure there were
I
lots of
mean,
daughters that were disappointed.
I was very happy to not yell at everyone to hurry up and get dressed so that we can hurry up and get a parking space so that we can hurry up and get the church. That
Yes,
felt good.
totally agreed. So it was a surprisingly okay. It was a surprise. I thought it was going to be bad, like not bad, but like lonely and just kind of weird. Like, but it worked out wonderfully. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
So, all right. So, Gina, we got a couple of things that we wanted to talk about today. Not only you being the proprietor of Code Ninjas in the Woodlands, but also being a realtor in the Woodlands. Let's might as well get started. We'll start with Code Ninjas. So, first of all, why don't you just tell everybody what is Code Ninjas?
So we teach children computer programming. And I want to break it down because I know there's probably programmers listening. And the first question that everyone's going to ask is, well, what language are you teaching? You know, that seems to be people who are programmers really want to know what language we're teaching. Let's remember that we are dealing with 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 to 14-year-olds. So this is not so much about the language that we teach. It's more about let's teach them to just explore, think like a programmer so that they can learn whatever language is interesting to them, because it's going to change. As you know, having kids, they could be interested in one thing and then 2 weeks later they are not interested in it anymore.
I'm the same way as an
Same thing
adult.
with sports. I want to play soccer. I want to play soccer. And then you put them on the soccer team and they don't even want to finish out the season, right?
Yeah.
So this is where I have to tell parents, especially like programming parents, okay, let's calm down. We're going to teach them to think like a programmer.
Right.
So we want them to explore and tinker and play around. And we have, robotics. But to answer the question, it's largely in the beginning of my program is JavaScript. Okay. So, and that's because it's just the most widely used. It's not to say that they're not going to learn any other language. They are. But in the beginning, it's JavaScript, and we teach the basic, very, very basic, syntax, variables, loops, if, then, when, very, very basic gaming, gaming terminology.
Okay.
So we have to start with first they have to know what the terminology is, basic vocabulary words. They have to learn basic typing because most kids, and you know this with your own, it's a swipe. Yeah. They're used to this right here, that motion, and they're not used
this
to
business here is not what they do.
JKL, enter.
Gina, I hate to interrupt you.
That takes a lot of time to teach kids.
Can you turn your speakers down just a little bit? Is that possible?
Yeah.
If you'll still be able to hear me, I'm catching feedback when I talk. I'm not hearing it now though, so whatever you did must be working. Can you still hear me okay?
Is that good?
That's great.
I can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's a lot better. Thank you. Yeah, no, that makes sense because kids like mine, I mean, all they've ever used is an iPad.
That's right.
And so to them, a keyboard is not a thing that is like held in place that they can type on. They have to hold it and then punch. So
right. We call that pick and click.
Pick and click.
We call that, pick and click. And so teaching kids to sit in the proper manner, which is with your hands like this, mm-hmm. and to even use a mouse. So that takes time because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the kind of stuff. But our basic, what we want to teach kids is coding. The reason why is because we know that everything that we touch these days is coded.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, from your refrigerator to your car. I mean, I just drive a basic Ford Expedition, and my car has 14 different computers in it.
Right.
So, and now there's the new refrigerators that have the app that you can look to see what's inside your refrigerator while you're at the grocery store.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody has to code all of that stuff, right? So that's what we want kids to be interested in learning about how do those things work.
Yeah, no, and I think it's awesome. I mean, I've in just the recent couple of years, I've been working closely with a software developer to finally take the things that, I've been dreaming of being able to do and make it reality. And I wish so badly that I could be the person that could sit down at a computer and just start coding away. And,
Right,
I mean,
right.
I could do that on my Commodore 128 when I was a kid, and I had easy speech and I could make the thing talk. And, and I remember all of that. And was it load, quote, star dot star, comma 8, comma 1 or something like
Yeah,
that? I mean, and I loved it. My granddad was way into it, and I got into it because of that. And just never, but my brain doesn't think. I mean, I can do Excel ahead of the curve, but I can, my brain doesn't think in the computer language style. And but
right.
when I think of something and I tell somebody, hey, I need this coded, and they can do it, I'm like, God, why can't I do that? Like, why is it that you can do that and I cannot do that? And
You can though.
I'll
You
come to Code
can
Ninjas.
because yeah, you can. You can come to Code Ninjas. The reason why you can is because again, it's a language, just like Spanish or English or French. It's a language that you just have to learn. You have to sit down and study it. It takes a little bit of time, but it's a language like any other,
Yeah,
and anyone can learn to code. And that's why we wanted to bring it down to kid level, because we know that they can absorb it so much faster
yeah,
than if you and I were to sit down and try to go through. Okay, I want to learn Python. You and I could do it. It would take us a lot longer, but kids, they soak it up so fast,
mm-hmm,
and their little minds work so creatively, that it's amazing. And so that's basically what we are encouraging here, and that's kind of why we like the franchise itself chose to have a brick and mortar location, because kids want to be around other kids who are doing the same thing.
right.
When you go play soccer as your extracurricular activity, you're getting to go out and be with all your friends who are also interested in soccer, right?
Yes,
But when you're coding, before now, it was really a solitary exercise, a
but you're
skill that
making
you
you're
were kind of learning on your own.
you're making somewhat of a social, aspect there, and people are going to enjoy that.
Absolutely. It is absolutely all about the experience of being in a place where you can socialize with other kids who think like you, who are interested in gaming and building video games and being creative in that way, and also being mentored by older. My senseis that work here are all 19, 18,
Mm-hmm.
20, and so they are getting mentored by these kids who have already gone through most of these programs
Yeah.
and have definitely gone through my program.
No, and I think it's super cool that you've got the ability to take something that, I mean, I don't know what kids think about that being geeky these days, but to me it's not geeky at all. It's mandatory. Like, I think kids, probably should just
Yeah,
learn this by default. But you're making a fun place to
yeah.
go. It's an attractive place. It's in a shopping center. Um, and how? So, what would be the difference in coming to Code Ninjas versus like just getting on YouTube or kelby1.com or something and being like, I'm going to learn Python today? I mean, what is it that, other than the social aspect, I mean, how do you teach the kids differently than if they were just watching it?
Okay, that's a very good question. The reason why is because if a child is at home and trying to learn coding, and the child gets frustrated, and the child has a parent that does not know anything about coding, the child can do what? Shut the computer down, go outside.
Yeah.
And that's that. Whereas here, if you are in a setting where you've got my code senseis helping you, the child's going to inevitably going to reach a roadblock. When they get frustrated, they are going to other peers. We encourage peer to peer, but
Mm-hmm.
we also have my senseis floating around, and they need to ask my sensei, and my sensei will give them some coaching on how to get through it. We don't give the answer. We want you to figure out the answer, but we will coach you on how to get there. And mistakes means that you're trying.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
nothing wrong with the mistakes. So, and then we also have games. We take a break every hour and we do a game with them, something coding related. That's not in front of the computer. Sometimes we get up on the blackboard. Sometimes we not in front of the computer. Sometimes we get up on the blackboard, do STEM activities. Sometimes we have coding board games. The kids have a break from that, but it's still learning. It's still coding related. And when they get frustrated, we encourage them, hey, you know what? Let's take a 5-minute break and let's go work on a coding puzzle. Let's go look at the robotics. Let's do something, because inevitably they do get frustrated because, again, it's a language.
Sure.
I mean, it's hard.
No, that makes total sense. I feel like for myself, I'm the same way. Like I got all this new gear in my studio here, learning how to use it, and I would rather have I found a guy who helped me teach me like what the software does and what all the equipment does, because I know how to do it. I know what I want it to look like on the other end, but I don't know where all the little stuff is. And if I get stuck, I'd rather be 6 months ahead of where I could teach myself by having a person who's there with me on speakerphone, like, oh no, do that, do this, do that, do this. And so I could totally relate to the children coming there to Code Ninjas, and they would close that laptop if they were on Kelby One or if they were on YouTube.com, and they'd be like, I can't do this. And I can't help my children code, so the solution is going to be I'm going to call somebody that I know if they're available, or we're just we're going to need some help. And so providing that in your dojo, it's the dojo, right?
It's the dojo, yes.
Yes, yeah. I'm thinking of Napoleon Dynamite in my head right now, like when he goes and he's like, bow to your sensei is the guy.
Bow to your sensei. No, we don't do that. We do want you to greet your sensei, and your sensei is going to greet you. There's no bowing to our sensei. Although I think my senseis would love that.
That's what you need to do. If you don't know that scene in Napoleon Dynamite, he goes to karate, and I forget the comedian who's the sensei, but it's hilarious. But but anyway, well, no, I think it's cool. What is the model there anyway? I mean, do you do by the class, by the month, by the module accomplishment? Like how do
it's a monthly subscription, and you get 2 hours per week.
Okay.
And you can use those hours however you want. Normally, when we are open and it's not a pandemic, our hours are 2 to 7, which is after school hours. I open a little bit earlier for all the homeschoolers out there. But we're open from 2 to 7, so it's after school. It's an extracurricular activity. It's a monthly subscription. You get 2 hours per week, okay? And the great thing is that they get a little I'm going to get this for you so I can show it to you real quick. They have an RFID band. See, so we have a scanner, and they scan themselves in, and that opens up their virtual dojo that they work in. They open up our GDP that they have access to here at our site, and they begin their curriculum. So we have this, all lined out for them. They follow along in their curriculum. When they have a question about anything, they raise their hand, they can ask a peer, they can sit down and, work on it with a sensei. My senseis, I have about a 6-to-1 student to ninja to sensei ratio. And they can use their hour however they want. So I don't have to say, parents, you've got to be here at 3:30. Parents can come and drop off, and they'll scan themselves in. And then 1 hour later, they can pick them up. Or if they need to do 2 hours back to back, they can do 2 hours back to back. That's usually our Saturday, crew that comes in, or they're getting their 2 hours back to back, because during the week they have other things.
So, how has it changed then? I mean, you mentioned when it's not in a pandemic. I mean, that's the program. What is the program today? I mean, maybe before I ask that question, how has this affected you? Like, how has this pandemic affected Code Ninjas?
Oh, it's been a big hit, as you know, with all the small businesses in the area. It's taken a huge toll on us as well. I mean, we suffered a 25% loss right off the bat.
Wow. Yeah.
Within 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I understand, I mean, we are a non-essential business, so we were, mandated to close down.
Mm-hmm.
So I still wanted to offer something to my parents, who are so graciously sticking with me during this time. So what we've done is we've shortened our hours and we have gone virtual like many other businesses out there. I'm fortunate that I can go virtual, and we're hosting classes via Zoom, and we are doing a 3 o'clock class, a 4 o'clock class, and a 5 o'clock class. And
Is
we are
there
hosting them on
software?
Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're still doing. I mean, that can satisfy the 2 hours per week that you're offering
Right,
right there. Is
right.
is there software that's like installed on the laptops that are at the dojo that you're having to have kids install so they can participate at home? I mean, how is that?
With one of my classes, yes, because it's a Python class,
Mm-hmm.
but the senseis walk them through it and tell them how to do it. Again, this is all teachable moments.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't want them, we didn't want parents doing this. We didn't want to inconvenience parents any more than what, parents are being inconvenienced already. So I asked my senseis, do you think that this is something that the kids can do? And they said, absolutely. With Zoom, we can walk them through it. They will feel so proud of themselves on how they installed the program and, did this and did that. And they did it. They
Good.
installed. It was great. They worked it all out. And so we also have a Google Classroom where they submit their work to me and they can, get graded on it. And every time they submit stuff, they get entered into a drawing for a $100 gift certificate to, this one's going to be to GameStop, because right now you really can't go out anywhere. So
Yeah.
GameStop it is. And so, yeah, they submit their work and I can look at it right there. And all my senseis have access to the Google Classroom. And we look at their work and say, this was great, or this needed to be, you made a mistake in your code here, but it's been working out so far. But we did take a hit.
Well, that's unfortunate that, obviously all of us are affected by it. And it's interesting to hear from, specific people exactly how this is affecting them. I think it enlightens everyone to understand which businesses are affected in what way specifically. But I also have enjoyed seeing how people have figured out how to overcome it. We've got in the shopping centers that we manage, we have a lot of tenants that are shut down, because they're not all essential. And I was talking to this Taekwondo studio, and they're also doing Zoom. And I was talking to them about, what the plan was moving forward. But I said, listen, aside from that, like, I would love to help you make your Zoom thing successful. I was like, I'm knowledgeable about that. If there's anything that I can do to help you present to your people in a good way, like, please let me know, because that's something that everyone had to figure out how to do overnight.
Literally overnight.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I'm part of a Z community that is collaborative, and we were on top of it as it was approaching the US. We were
Yeah.
on top of it discussing. So I already knew I was going to use Zoom. I already knew what classes I was going to pick to teach. We had already figured that out. I had a staff meeting before I was mandated to shut down, so we were ready to go, and we just braced ourselves for the economic impact that it's had.
Yeah.
Hopefully this won't last too much longer, because I miss my ninjas, and I know that they miss being here.
Of
They
course
miss
they do.
coming here, and they miss seeing our senseis, and candy. They miss their candy that they get from me for doing well and completing
Bribery.
projects, and they're all their prizes.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Do you have any idea how, in the whole U.S., there's many code ninjas. Are all of them shut down? Are there areas where they're not shut down? Do you have any idea how other places are doing compared to here?
We have our own group, obviously, like our own Facebook page. And so we chat there, we find out what everybody's doing. Most are shut down. Almost all of them are doing online classes like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there's one. I think maybe one is about to open back up.
Wow.
Because there isn't any COVID-19 diagnosed, I think, anymore in their area.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they're about to open back up. But for the most part, everyone that I know is either shut down completely or offering the online classes.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So are you guys having, aside from learning how to do Zoom or deploying Zoom and getting that going, are you having to do anything, or are you attempting anything marketing wise to be sure that you stay in constant contact with your current base, or are you doing anything to try to grow the customer base that might be different now than it was 2 months ago?
I'm still running my advertising, believe it or not. I don't want to pull that. I think that that's kind of essential, is to stay in front of people and let them know I'm still here. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Please don't forget about me. I know that right now everybody's pulling and cutting out non-essential bills and things like that. But I think that now, with everybody working from home, people are really starting to realize how beneficial coding is
Yeah,
and how
interesting.
needed it is. Because should this strike in 10 years again, some similar pandemic, you're going to have a whole generation of kids that know how to code, and working from home and dealing, they'll be able to do it with their eyes shut because they know how to code.
I hadn't thought about the that this is going to solidify people realizing that these computer skills are even more important than they ever were before.
Even more so important right now to get to learn how to code.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that's actually really cool. So if you're doing Zoom right now, do you foresee, even though, I mean, we you've established there's benefits of being there, no doubt there's a benefit of being at Code Ninjas, but you have created an online series of coursework that people can do. Do you see that persisting through the, like, is that
Yes.
that's new? That's a new thing.
Yep.
And
Yep.
even if,
Necessity is the mother of all invention, and
yeah.
that will be another service that we will offer. And I know that we have town halls with HQ twice a week. So they have said that that's not going to go away, and they're going to develop that further, I think.
Well,
So,
I mean, you know, there are people that can't make it over there for schedule reasons. There are people that can't make it there for coronavirus reasons. And I think that being able to serve people, especially if you're providing a technology service, utilize technology and provide it to people. So, I mean,
or what we have such a great international community here. What we have seen is a lot of people leave in the Woodlands for the summer, and they go to Japan or China or India or wherever, Mexico. We have so many international students here that they would like to be able to continue taking their classes here at Code Ninjas, but they can't because we didn't offer that before. But now they'll still be able to do that.
yeah, no,
And
that's
hopefully
cool.
we'll see something develop with that in the near future. But from the vibes I'm getting from HQ, I think that they're going to continue offering something like that.
Well, that's I think that that's truly I think that's cool, that something good, your effort is going to be turned into something that's going to be carried on after the COVID-19 ends. I mean, you're going to have created this online thing, and then it's going to keep being a thing, and your efforts are not wasted. So I think that
Oh
that's
yeah.
wonderful.
I'm definitely gonna make stay on top of it, make sure that it still happens.
So I want to pull up your website here real quick, Gina, just so that people
Yeah,
can
please
see
do.
it. Let's see here. There's the website. And so we went to the codeninjas.com, and they have some locations on here. I found this by searching Code Ninjas the Woodlands, and it took me straight to it. And is there anything on here that you want to point out to people that they can go to learn about what you're doing?
Yeah, if you'll click on programs, there'll be a drop down menu.
Okay.
And then from that drop down menu will bring you to all the different things that we offer. And you see how it says at home?
Yes.
That's what we're developing now.
Oh,
And
this is the
so
new
that's what
section.
the
Cool.
kids can work on.
Yeah,
And that's
wonderful.
still, it's still in the process right now. But we also offer parents night out. We also offer birthday parties.
Hey,
Camps this summer. I know the kids love the summer camps.
yeah, before we
And you'll
leave
see
that,
if you scroll down to camp, when you click on camps, you'll
that's what I
see
want
all
to
the different
see.
things that we're offering this summer. And
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
pretty fabulous.
what obviously everybody's, going to be looking for things to do. I mean, a lot of kids have missed out on what they otherwise could have been doing, to stay with their friends and be in contact with other people and socialize. So I would think that summer camp enrollment is going to be at just an absolute all-time high this summer for parents wanting to get their kids out, maybe possibly get their kids out of the house and also get their kids doing what they were not able to do. So, do you have any specific? I mean, they're great camps. Y'all always have these camps. You have lots of stuff to do. It's just going to be, probably they'll be more popular than normal, huh?
I'm thinking so, especially because we offer new camps every summer, but we also offer some of our tried and true. So, like our Minecraft Create and our Roblox Create are tried and true. All the kids love that. So, we want to offer them something that they can, that they want to do it again, they can. But we also want to keep updating and keep offering new things. And so, like the storytelling in Scratch is new, the Roblox Royale is new, the Minecraft modding is new,
That's
the
cool.
program and play in Python is new. And that's from listening to feedback from kids and parents about things that they want to experiment with, but they're not sure. So this is a great way for kids to say, okay, I'm interested in Python. I don't know if I want to really dive into Python. How about I just do a Python camp first, and then it'll make me see if I like it or not.
Yeah.
And that's what those camps for. They're little introductions to different aspects of coding. So our robotics camp that introduces those kids who are interested in robotics to play around with it, right? I
Yeah.
mean, robots are just pieces of plastic unless you have somebody that codes it to
Right.
move. So there's always the need for the coder, otherwise it's just plastic.
No, I think that's cool that you have the ability to get a taste and figure out what you're into, and then if you do decide to move on, I'm sure you can dive in with more coursework after a camp, and you can really hone your
Right.
skills there. So, well, you got a cool business. I mean, you've been doing this for is it 2 years now that y'all have been open?
Yes, this coming June will
June will be
mark
2 years.
2 years.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, congratulations to you for building a really cool business. I mean, I think it's awesome, and I can't wait till my kids are old enough that I can send them over there. So
Thanks.
keep
I think it's a really cool business too.
keep doing that, and I hope that all this Zoom stuff you're doing and anything that you guys figure out how to market to people and stay in front of people, I hope that this really does come out as a positive event somehow for you to figure out how to run this business in this diverse time that we're dealing with. So that's
I know.
it's
Thanks.
it's crazy, but it is what it is. So, all right. So, Gina, you don't teach people how to code. You are not a sensei at Code Ninjas. You are the business owner, but your job, I think, more of the time is being a realtor.
Right. So, I mean, I own this business with my husband, obviously, Matt. And so we each take on our roles. He does all the numbers and the Excel spreadsheets. I do all
Mhm.
the marketing. And so we kind of split up. But I want to give a shout out to my awesome assistant director, Inez. She is the face, and she is the one who is in constant contact with our ninjas and our parents and does our newsletters, and she does all the scheduling, and she does everything, and she's
Well, way to
wonderful,
go,
and she's my
Inez.
right hand person.
Yeah. All right. That's
So
great.
shout out to Inez. I hope you're watching. You are awesome. And
That's
I
great.
wouldn't be able to do it without you.
That's
But
great.
yes, I am also a real estate agent here in the Woodlands. I am with Keller Williams,
Yeah.
and that is also another job.
And how long have you had your real estate license?
Oh wow, I think I got it in 2015,
Okay.
16. I
Okay.
can't remember.
So about five
I
years
don't
ago,
know.
you got into real estate.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you buy and sell houses here in the Woodlands. So, and
All over. I mean, I won't go as far. I'll refer out after if it's on the other side of the city.
Okay. Yeah, that
But
makes
I've got
sense.
wheels, and I'll go, and I'll go as far as the loop, and but
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that makes sense. I mean, it's a big area. You might as well cover it. So what made me want to call you right away and have you on my show, though, is I was on a bike ride with the kids yesterday, and I saw you in front of your new listing.
Yes.
So, and something that kind of stuck out to me was, I keep seeing you going over there, and it's only been listed for about a week or so now, but you're just having showing after showing after showing after showing, and I was like, man, like, why don't you get on the show and give us, live commentary for what's going on in the world of real estate, hyper local point of view, for people to see what's happening with the coronavirus. I mean, so what are you seeing with this listing compared to how it would have been 3 months ago or 2 months ago?
When it comes to showings, I am still seeing a lot of action. People will still have to buy and sell houses. People are still getting transferred in and out of the state, and people are still, even though working from home, they're still working.
Yeah.
So I have to say it's pretty strong. And in the last week, we've had probably six showings. Six
That's
showings.
great. That's
Uh,
great.
People wanting to come in and look. And I mean, granted, the procedures have changed, so there's no open houses. We're not allowed to have any of the open houses.
Right.
But we have a very strict policy on how to show the house. We have it on 3D, and you have to do a virtual tour, and then when people come in, there's a hand washing procedure and a mask procedure and a booty procedure, and don't touch the lights, leave the lights on, just don't touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk through the house, and
Yeah.
then myself or the owners will shut off all the lights, just to minimize the amount of touching going on. But there is a
Makes
procedure.
total sense. I mean, and I think that's good that people have put the thought into creating those procedures, and have figured out how to continue having people come in and out of houses. So
Right. We also, Keller Williams provided us with a form for agents to fill out that they themselves haven't been sick in the last 14 days, that their clients haven't been sick in the last 14 days. They sign it, we get it. So we're really trying to go overboard to make sure that no one is coming in and exposing anybody else to the virus. So
yeah.
we're also limiting it to the weekends so that the owners can stay home, because everyone's working from home. So it's kind of hard to show a house when people are scheduling to go in and out, in and out, in and out, and you're home working.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I think a lot of agents are starting to do, is just push back the showings to a more condensed time to limit the amount of exposure.
No, I think that's all. I mean, we're going to find ways to adapt and overcome. And I think that's what everyone's just currently dealing with and figuring out. And we're all doing it. I feel like a lot of industries and a lot of people are really doing a very good job of continuing on, not completely as though nothing happened, but in spite of things that have happened.
Right. I mean, on your last podcast that you did with Callie, I
Mm-hmm.
thought that the curbside service was
I love that.
amazing.
I
What
love that.
an amazing idea to
Yeah.
just have them, you pull up in your car for closing. They bring you the clipboard you give them your ID. You sign
Yeah.
right there and you're done. I mean, are we ever going to do closings back the old way?
You know what? We have a shopping center over on Kirkendall with a end cap with a drive-through that is moving out, and the lease is up in a few months. I think that needs to be a title company. I think they could pull up to the drive-through menu. They can say, "Hi, I'm Morgan Cole. I'm here for my closing at XYZ," and they'll say, "No problem. Pull to the window. We'll have your signature clipboard ready for you."
I mean, I just can't even imagine that closings are going to go back to go back to the way that they were. Once I heard Kelly say that that's what they were doing, I thought,
Yeah.
there's no other way now. Now there's no other way. This is fabulous.
It is nuts. I kind of like going and getting the Lunchables, though, at the title company conference room. Like, that's fun for me, but,
They do have good snacks.
They do. They always do. So, but no, it's interesting how things have changed. So, So what about you watch the HAR reports? You know, they send out all the data. I was skimming that earlier. It's up. I mean, everything is. I mean, it's going to be delayed. I mean, there's going to be like a trailing curve of being able to see the effect of coronavirus. But so far, it's not like things have just fallen flat. I mean, do you remember some of the
No,
details
they
on there?
haven't. As a matter of fact, I mean, we haven't, the Houston real estate market hasn't taken a hit the way that some of the other major markets in the US have. I mean, we're still up. We are up 8.2% from this time last year. We're up
Wow.
for the ninth consecutive month. I mean,
Median
we're
price. You mean when you
consistently
say
going
up? You
up.
mean
Now,
median
granted,
price is up 9 consecutive months?
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I even have some little notes that I made here. That the single family home sales totaled over 7,500, and it's an 8.2% increase from this time last year. And it was the ninth consecutive month of positive sales.
Yeah. I mean,
So you're looking at the real estate market here going, it's still looking pretty good here.
well, the thing that I take a little bit of comfort in is that this is different than 2008 2009 because people are not buying houses and getting them appraised for 110% of what they're worth and putting actually zero money down, and then something goes wrong that maybe it's as simple as the rate adjusts on the adjustable rate mortgage and they can't afford it anymore, or they lose their job because the economy is failing, and in any event the home gets foreclosed upon and the lender can't even possibly get out of this thing with their shirt on, and it just causes
Right.
like cascading waterfall event of these bad events. Right now the economy prior to this was strong as ever. The fundamentals still exist. This is a horrible thing that we're experiencing, but it doesn't mean that all the houses are not worth what they were being bought and sold for the past several years.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think that that's gonna something that will carry us through is that our foundation seems solid. This is a disruption, and we will see what that disruption looks like ultimately when the real data comes in, and we can reflect on this in June and see what April looked like. Or, I mean, you can see it faster than that, but you'll start to see a trend after a few months.
Right. I think April, this is going to be the month where we're going to really see the impact. I think March was showing what the trend was doing when the pandemic hit. And
Yeah.
then I do think that now you're going to see April where it's going to take a dip. But I really don't think it's going to take that bad of a dip in the real estate market.
It doesn't seem like it's going to me. I can tell you that, for my own business, what I'm seeing is a lot of delinquency in commercial tenants, which is
Right.
understandable because they've been told to close. And if you've been told to
Right.
close, you probably don't have cash that you can easily let go of to pay your rent. Um, I think also a lot of people know that landlords understand what's going on and they assume they're going to be able to work with them. I do know that the economic injury disaster loans and the payroll protection program loans are finally starting to roll out and actually get funded. So I think that we'll continue to hopefully that props everything up, and we kind of keep rolling, and maybe there isn't going to be we'll see how bad May is, but I agree with you. April is where it seems to be starting to we're seeing the fallout from it.
Right.
I just hope
It'll
that
be
people,
April and May. And like I
yeah,
said, I agree with you on June being when we can take a look at actual numbers
yeah,
and really see how much it's impacted everybody. But I think that right now we've braced ourselves for the hit. The hit's here. It's coming, but I don't think that we're done being hit. I think
no
it's
way.
beginning right now, and you'll see it back up into May, and then you'll see everybody will have their stimulus check in by June, and then you'll start to see what happened in April and May.
I agree. I agree. And we're seeing residential delinquency is not nearly as significant as commercial delinquency that I'm seeing. In our properties where we would see 1 to 2% delinquency on the 10th of the month, we're currently seeing like 3 to 4% delinquency. So I mean, I guess it is double. Like the delinquency is two times what
Right.
it was, but it's gone from 2 to 4%. Like this is not the worst thing that ever happened. Whereas in commercial, we've got 40% delinquency, 50% delinquency in a shopping center,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's a pretty big number of people that are affected. But like I said, hopefully the housing market stays strong because we are seeing people keep paying, and then hopefully the commercial market recovers when all these small businesses start to get their relief from the SBA. So We'll see
Yeah.
how that goes. But, well, Gina, how can we learn more about you and your real estate? I got I have your website pulled up right here. There's Gina Hyman. So you got this. Is there anything you want to tell us about you, or anything else that we need to know here?
Well, I love getting to know my clients, and I really enjoy real estate. I enjoy um, the process from beginning to end. I've met some really cool people along the years, and this is a very emotional experience. And when you're a real estate agent, you have to. There's a lot of listening going on because
Oh
you're
yeah,
listening to your clients' needs, what they need. Sometimes they're in a hurry. Sometimes they're not in a hurry. Buying and selling a home is a very emotional process.
that is
And
why I
since
don't
I'm
do
a
it.
Cancer and I tend to be a very emotional person, I love to listen. I'll talk about it with you. I'll be there for you because I feed off of people and being around people. And like I said, during this pandemic, I'm like, your peacock friends, we're not okay. We miss you. I need people. My husband, on the other hand, you know him, Morgan. He was built for this.
Yeah,
Like, oh, stay home, no problem.
this is not
Me,
particularly bothering me.
real estate agents, we're a very talkative bunch. We are active. We are going and doing, and this is hard for us.
I guess, to
We
be
we want to
fair,
see you.
it's not bothering me, except now I'm wondering if my motivation for getting back in the studio and doing this is because I was trying to stay in front of people, or if it's because I need to communicate with people. I guess that remains to be seen. I don't know. I like talking, so I'm not real sure. But anyway, well, Gina, I mean, thank you so much for spending an hour today talking to me and sharing with us your journey with Code Ninjas and being a realtor. And I appreciate that, and I really sincerely hope that your Zoom meetings go well with keeping Code Ninjas going, and that you guys get out on the other side of this better than you were.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's
You
been
bet.
fun.
You bet. All right, Gina. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
So there you had it. That was Gina, my neighbor, realtor, and Code Ninjas of the Woodlands owner. And I really am thankful that she was able to join us and talk to us about what's going on. Thank you for joining me. I love having people online here. I see we had a lot of people that tuned in today. I've got my studio reconfigured now so that I can actually see Facebook. It's not on the computer that had been behind me over to the side, and I can easily add things in and bring up websites and stuff. So I'm hoping that I can get comfortable using this new equipment and we can get things going. I will be back on Thursday. I try to do Mondays and Thursdays, but like I said, I reconfigured things and in Easter kind of, of course, changed my schedule. But I will be back on Thursday to use our Rentalizer platform to deliver some local market data. Gina and I were talking about the HAR data, and I think it's wonderful that they put that out there. But the market data from HAR is all of the Houston Association of Realtors, and that doesn't necessarily mean just the Woodlands, and things that are going on in the Woodlands might be different than Spring and Katy and Tomball and other places. So we've got this new system we created that allows us to view the quantity of listings, the median price of the listings, the median sales price of the listings, the quantity of the sales, the quantity of sales, and you can compare the quantity of sales to the quantity of listings and see if the inventory is accumulating or being sold through at a reasonable rate. And a few other things that are pretty cool. I like to look at the data, and I think that looking at it on a weekly basis with a trailing 52-week period and using a 5-week moving average is going to really help to illustrate what we're seeing with trends as a result of coronavirus, if anything. So anyway, tune in Thursday to get a glimpse of that, and I'll have another guest then that'll provide some lively commentary. And speaking of guests, if you're interested in being on the show, be sure to reach out to me. I'd love for any of my listeners to be on the show to talk about the Woodlands, investing in real estate, anything else that you're interested in. If you have a question about property management or a rental property that you own or anything like that, I'd love to communicate with you about that and share my knowledge and expertise. So anyway, be sure and give me a shout and let me get you on the show. So I hope everyone stays safe. Wash those hands. Don't get lackadaisical. I think that we're all kind of getting ADD with being home and having to be distant. And I've even seen myself, like, go for a door and not have a Clorox wipe like I used to would have. And don't worry, Casey, I got a Clorox wipe. But in any event, I'm just saying that I think that if I'm noticing myself do it, surely other people are too. And we need to continue to be vigilant and stay safe to kick this thing, nip this thing in the bud. So thanks for joining. I will see you Thursday.